A blade came out. I saw it holding the blade high, raising its head, and then it slashed down at me in an instant. My shoulder immediately sprayed blood. Looking at the threatening Wolverine, I cursed in my heart. This damn thing is too much to handle. How am I supposed to fight with bare hands? Am I supposed to catch the wolf with bare hands? Isn't that asking for trouble? So I started to run like hell. What kind of world is this? How could a wolf know how to use a blade? I thought a monster is immune to all types of attacks, be it lava or bullets. At this moment, I must hurry to get the ape girl back to her barbaric form. 2 against 1 would definitely put this guy down. Otherwise, both of us are done for. I put Ape Girl down from my shoulder. Ape Girl, you climb up a big tree first. I will get you back as soon as possible. Ape Girl nodded again and again. She also knew that her current state was my weakness, which made me helpless. Then she dragged her trembling body towards the big tree. Just then, Wolverine jumped high again behind me and chopped my thigh with the blade, blood spraying wildly again. I hugged the tree in front of me, pulled it out by the roots, and threw it at Wolverine. Don't think you're the only one who can use tools. Wolverine slashed the big tree with its blade. The moment the tree was split, I had already gathered energy. Perfect timing. Burst breath. I launched my strongest mouth cannon at Wolverine, and the burst breath hit it directly. But Wolverine did a backflip to dodge to the side. Tough skin and flesh. Burst breath not penetrating is a boss standard, and I can understand that. But damn it, after such a fierce fight, he didn't even lose grip on that blade. That weapon is too sharp, causing more damage than claws and teeth. I must find a way to get rid of it first. Since that's the case, I have to use brute force. So I charged at it, trying to knock the blade off with a collision. Just then, the hairless spiny jackal joined the fight. It bit my leg, stopping me from running forward. Just when I was fiercely looking back at the spiny jackal, Wolverine jumped high again and swung its blade at me. Damn, a monkey-like agile Wolverine was troublesome enough, and now there's another spiny jackal. The key issue is that these two guys, acting like they had a plan, attacked me from front and back, even coordinating their attacks. I shouted, 2 against 1. Young men, this is not fair. Another annoying guy appeared in the sky, the Deathlark. It flew over and spotted Ape Girl curled up in the tree, and its eyes lit up. Finally found you. It charged at Ape Girl with its beak open. Ape Girl jumped vigorously, dodging its attack, and the Deathlark crashed into the tree. Hearing the noise, I was instantly alarmed. Not good. Ape Girl is in danger. At that moment, the Deathlark was searching around for Ape Girl. Ape Girl was hiding under the bushes, not daring to move. Seeing Ape Girl in danger, I was very anxious, distracted. I was caught off guard by Wolverine and got wounded again. I roared angrily, quickly turned around, and forced them back. I didn't have a close friend in my past life, let alone someone like Ape Girl who risked her life to save me. Even if it costs me my life, I will protect Ape Girl. So, I ran toward Ape Girl regardless of everything, leaving my back completely exposed to Wolverine's attack. It suddenly accelerated, and its large blade stabbed toward my back, piercing right through my body, and this was exactly the result I wanted. To seize that blade, I was all in. Just then, the spiny jackal also rushed over and bit me. At this point, I was covered in wounds and gasping for breath. Since I couldn't shake off these two, I had to find a way to control them. So, I trapped the blade with my shell and started to gather energy on my back. Wolverine was sweating bullets immediately, but it refused to let go of the blade and tried pulling it out. I let you hit me on purpose. As long as my heart stays protected, your damage to me is nothing. I'm already used to wounds and injuries. Thorn armor, activate. The Wolverine behind me had no escape. It was directly hit, screamed in agony, and was thrown away, crashing to the ground. That takes care of the blade wielder. Now it's your turn. Give me your evolution points. The little spiny jackal was sweating coldly. It was just about to run when I directly bit off her head. Ding. You have successfully devoured the spiny jackal leader. Evolution points plus 500. Ding. You have successfully devoured the spiny jackal leader. Evolution points plus 490. At this time, I completely ignored the Wolverine behind me and was frantically devouring the spiny jackal. The analysis progress bar kept rising. After a while, only one leg of the spiny jackal was left. Little Cohen appeared in front of me, saying, "The transformation fruit analysis and modification completed. Would you like to retrieve the fruit?" I immediately answered, yes. In a moment, the green transformation fruit appeared in my hand. Without a second thought, I threw the transformation fruit towards Ape Girl. Ape Girl, eat it quickly. Just then, the Deathlark pushed through the dense bushes and found Ape Girl. Ape Girl hurriedly crawled toward the transformation fruit on the ground and started chewing it. At this moment, the Deathlark opened its big mouth, ready to swallow Ape Girl in one gulp. I shouted to Ape Girl, transform. Use the method I taught you. Hurry and transform now. Just as the Deathlark rushed toward her, Ape Girl swung a slap, looking at the small hand in front of it, which wasn't even fit to scratch its itch. The Deathlark's eyes filled with disdain. The next second, Ape Girl's hand suddenly turned into the hand of an ancient ape and smacked the Deathlark's face, sending it flying with a slap. Ape Girl stood up and let out a roar that was hers alone. My Ape Girl had finally regained her monster body. She looked at her own hand, slightly stunned. Did I transform back? Then she shouted joyfully, "Great! I've finally transformed back." At that time, she remembered what I had once said. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. She thought to herself, should I talk to that strange bird? So she thought about making contact with the Deathlark first. She jumped toward the Deathlark. Dragon Brother said you could be friends. I'm going to talk on behalf of Dragon Brother first. She stepped on the Deathlark's weak back, nearly squishing something out of it. Ancient Ape's way of communicating is very special, simple, and rough. She pounded her fists on the Deathlark. Speak up. Do you want to be our friend? At this moment, the Deathlark was extremely angry, with a mind full of llama galloping. Ancient Ape continued to threaten. Speak up or I'll keep beating you. The Deathlark suddenly flipped over, throwing the Ancient Ape off, and then flapped its wings madly with all its strength, thinking only of quickly escaping this violent maniac. Seeing the Deathlark's disrespectful behavior, Ancient Ape angrily beat her chest and roared. She looked around and saw a fallen tree on the ground and immediately had an idea. She picked up a tree trunk and posed as if throwing a javelin at the Deathlark. Ancient Ape threw the tree trunk in her hand. The trunk flew straight toward the Deathlark, almost hitting it. The Deathlark, barely dodging the attack, even cursed out loud. Damn, you idiot, is this how you make friends? Hearing this, I, too, was in disbelief. The Deathlark actually cursed. Compared to a wolf using a blade and a gorilla throwing javelins, a bird cursing doesn't seem so strange. Forget it, I'll leave the cursing bird to Ancient Ape. I must focus on dealing with this yellow-haired creature in front of me. But at this moment, the Wolverine was just standing there, its eyes fixed on Ape Girl after her transformation. This guy must have been shocked to see the little person he bullied earlier suddenly turn into a big monster. So I proudly said, how about that? I now have an extra helper, and you don't have your big blade anymore. Still want to fight? Suddenly, Wolverine roared at me, yellow electricity wrapping around its body, and it pounced toward me fiercely. Did I say something wrong just now? Why does it suddenly become so energetic and fierce? After such a long fight, its speed and strength haven't weakened at all. At this moment, it pounced toward my back again, clearly wanting to snatch the blade back. This blade, which I fought so hard to get, how could I let you take it back? I responded with a dragon tail swing, sending it flying away. However, at this moment, my body felt somewhat weak, even somewhat unresponsive, and I was panting and panicking. Why is there so little blood in this giant body? Hearing the noise of our fight, Ancient Ape began to worry about me. Just as she was about to come over to help, the Deathlark suddenly changed direction, diving down and heading straight for Ancient Ape. Seeing the attacking claws, the anxious Ancient Ape kept striking back at the Deathlark. I saw everything. The Deathlark not only held the aerial advantage, but was also full of tricks. Over time, this simple Ancient Ape was sure to be at a disadvantage, so I yelled at her, don't mind me. Damn, pay attention to your opponent when you fight. Even if my body is strong, having this blade stuck in my chest for a long time is not sustainable. I needed a quick resolution to take out one enemy first. While I was thinking, Wolverine seized the opportunity to jump onto my back and grab the blade in its mouth again. Not good. Ancient Ape, always worried about me, also noticed the trouble on my side immediately and ran over. At that moment, the Deathlark, excited, opened its sharp claws wide, and swoosh, it slashed across Ancient Ape's back, instantly spraying blood. She stumbled and fell to the ground. Seeing this scene, I snorted coldly and said to Wolverine, you really don't learn. Daring to approach my back again, I began to gather energy, and blue electricity surged through my dorsal fin. Wolverine immediately thought of the image of being pierced by the thorn armor, involuntarily let out a dog-like yelp, snot flowing out, and without even wanting its blade anymore, it hurriedly jumped off my back and ran wildly into the distance, still yelping. Little punk, good to know you're scared, but you've been fooled again. Actually, my target was never you, but that bald-headed Deathlark. With a loud boom, I unleashed my strongest move directly at the Deathlark. Burst breath. The Deathlark left behind the words, why am I always the unlucky one, before I blasted it thousands of meters away. It's incredible. I'm a weakling who was always bullied in my previous life, now risking his life for a friend in this life. After releasing my strongest move, I exhausted my strength and collapsed weakly on the ground. Ape Girl, it's up to you now. Seeing my weakened state, Wolverine roared and charged at me. Just as it got close, a furious roar was heard. The extremely angry Ancient Ape leaped high and gave Wolverine a giant hammer, throwing it out forcefully. But this guy was tough. The previous attack barely had any effect, and it was still baring its teeth and growling at Ancient Ape. It suddenly stomped on the ground, charged rapidly at Ancient Ape, and bit directly into her thigh. Ancient Ape swung her fist, ready to loosen its muscles and bones. But the creature was cunning. It quickly jumped aside, dodged the attack, and then used a big tree to leap again toward Ancient Ape, biting into her other arm. It used all four of its claws to forcefully drag Ancient Ape backward. At this moment, my stomach was growling with hunger. Good thing Ancient Ape was holding up, otherwise, this creature really might have killed me. This Wolverine is really tough to deal with. Even Ancient Ape, strong and agile, was at a disadvantage against it, and this creature had a whole set of tactics, attacking the vital parts directly against someone bulky like me. Against the agile Ancient Ape, it restrained her arms and legs. Just then, I noticed other wolves running towards the woods. Was this creature trying to buy time for their retreat? How clever is this Wolverine? Exactly. At this moment, Ancient Ape raised her arm and punched Wolverine's head, but it easily dodged. Then it quickly charged towards me. Damn. This creature dragged Ancient Ape away, deliberately provoking her to expose her weaknesses, and its real target was me. Just as Wolverine pounced at me, Ancient Ape timed untimely grabbed its tail. Ancient Ape's veins bulged as she roared, "Your opponent is me." She spun Wolverine around quickly and then threw it directly at a large tree. With a bang, Wolverine smashed into the tree, which broke in half. Ancient Ape let out a victorious roar. However, at this moment, Wolverine was still staring intently at me. What was this creature thinking? Why did it keep chasing after me? Clearly, it was already covered in wounds, still facing 2 against 1. Moreover, its blade was still in my hand. The blade, right, the blade. This blade can easily injure me, so it must have a significant origin. That's why the big wolf treasures it so much and definitely wants to take it back. Watching Wolverine still fighting with Ancient Ape, I suddenly made a bold decision. Although I don't know what Wolverine is all about, it seems to understand human nature. Besides, it would be hard for Ancient Ape to defeat it completely. Maybe I could resolve this fight in a human way. So I shouted at them, still fiercely battling, "Stop fighting. Everyone stop. Big Wolf brother, I guess you can understand what I'm saying. I want to discuss something with you." At this moment, Ancient Ape, covering her wounds, "Don't stop me. Let me crash this guy down first." I stopped her, saying, "It hasn't stolen our territory or food. There's no point in continuing to fight." Ancient Ape, the simpleton, immediately changed her attitude. "You make sense." Ancient Ape could understand me because she ate the transformation fruit, but Wolverine apparently also understood my words. The only reasonable explanation is that it has encountered humans before. Could it be that there were people on this island before? I pointed to the blade on my body and continued speaking to Wolverine. "I can see that this blade means a lot to you, so I'll return it to you once you have it back. Can you please leave us in peace?" Hearing my words, Wolverine was slightly stunned and became much more docile, so I sat down on the ground and called Ancient Ape to come and remove the blade. At that moment, Ancient Ape reluctantly placed her hand on the handle of the blade. Just as she pulled out the blade, my blood immediately sprayed out, and I was in such pain that tears and snot flowed. "Ape girl, are you trying to make me die of blood loss?" Just then, Wolverine made a whining sound. Ancient Ape and I were baffled. We saw Wolverine lying on the ground, using its tongue to scoop up the soil and cover its own wounds. It was actually teaching us how to treat wounds. Why didn't I think of that? Using uncontaminated soil to press on the wound can help stop the bleeding. So I explained to Ancient Ape, pressing uncontaminated soil on the wound can stop the bleeding. My guess seems right. The Wolverine must have had contact with humans. So Ancient Ape and I both prepared a handful of clean soil. The moment Ancient Ape pulled out the blade, we pressed the soil and held onto the wound. "Ape sister, press hard and don't move." At this point, I was clearly much weaker. Even dark circles appeared under my eyes. "I'll return the blade to you, and I trust you will keep the agreement." Then I had the Ancient Ape throw the blade to Wolverine, who was squatting nearby. Wolverine picked up the blade and turned to walk into the woods. I couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Good thing it's a fairly honest wolf. We would have been in real trouble if it had attacked us now. Just then, a graceful figure appeared behind the big tree, staring at the departing Wolverine. "Since I can't get that Ancient Ape's spirit core, I might as well take yours first." I was so tired I lay down on the ground, panting heavily, my stomach grumbling. The protagonist is already struggling against both the Deathlark and Wolverine, not to mention the boss of the dead rotten reptiles, whom even many monster masters combined have failed to defeat. It seems our brother is still quite weak, needing more leveling in monster slaying to stand a chance against the strongest boss. At this moment, Ancient Ape asked worriedly, "Dragon brother, are you okay?" "How could I be okay? Look at my stomach," I said. Ancient Ape thought I was referring to the wound on my stomach, scooped up a clump of mud full of worms, and was about to cover my stomach with it. I almost threw up. "The stuff you just pressed on my back. It wasn't this kind of soil, was it?" I hurriedly explained to the Ancient Ape, "I'm just hungry. We need to find some food to replenish my energy." So, the Ancient Ape trotted off to find food. Soon, she came back with a few spine wolves and ground sloths. Teaching an Ancient Ape to skewer would definitely be a tragedy for the animal kingdom. The spiny jackal wasn't quite dead yet when the Ancient Ape stabbed it right in the butt. I exclaimed from the sidelines, "That's too brutal. That spiny jackal is not dead yet." After the skewers were ready, I started teaching the Ancient Ape how to barbecue. It's just been put on. Don't rush to flip it back and forth. Let it roast on the fire a bit longer. That skewer is cooked. Flip it quickly, or it will burn, I reminded. Ancient Ape immediately started to grab the skewers. "They are good to eat now." I slapped her hand away. "That's the wrong end for you to hold." But this foodie only thought about eating and accidentally set her arm on fire, dropping all the freshly grilled skewers on the ground. I sighed in frustration. "Who told you to put your hands in the bonfire? If it doesn't burn you, who will it burn?" Teaching this simpleton is truly more exhausting than doing it myself. The roast was burnt and bitter and covered in mud. If not for the evolution points, I'd rather die than eat this stuff. But at this moment, Ancient Ape was munching away happily. She could devour food so greedily, truly a foodie like no other. Just then, the system alerted. Severe injuries detected in the host's body. Evolution points automatically deducted for wound repair. In just the blink of an eye, all my injuries disappeared. I hadn't expected my devouring ability to work like this. At that moment, I couldn't help but reflect. I thought being reborn as a monster, acquiring the burst breath after signing in, successfully killing the pterosaur, bombarding the Ancient Ape, and annihilating the dead rotten reptiles would make me invincible, able to easily eliminate anything with my burst burst breath. But who knew? Just facing monsters like the Deathlark and Wolverine could give me a hard lesson. Ancient Ape once said that her parents, along with many monster masters, fought against the king of the dead rotten reptiles and still didn't win. How strong must that creature be? The challenge is bigger than I thought. I still have a long way to go. It seems I still need to continue skulking around, sneakily developing, trying to eat more and accumulating more evolution points. Ancient Ape, having eaten the life fruit, has clearly gained in strength. If the system offers more good stuff later, I should give a bit more to Ancient Ape. After all, an extra helper offers more security. Speaking of helpers, I suddenly thought of the Deathlark. The Deathlark that got hit by my burst breath. Where did it fall? Ancient Ape pointed in a direction. It fell over there. So I excitedly ran toward that direction. It's been so quiet for so long. It's probably dead by now. Let's cook it. I let the Wolverine go, so I can't miss this one. Don't know how many evolution points a bite will give. Maybe it'll even grant a new skill. When we ran over there, we found only a large pit on the ground with no sign of the Deathlark. It was so big that even if it wasn't dead, we should have noticed it trying to escape. But why is there not even a trace left? Ancient Ape, while chewing on food, said it was already gone when I was looking for food. Just then, Little Quinn suddenly appeared, looked around, and said, "The energy waves here tell me a monster had just transformed into a human being. Could it be that the Deathlark transformed into human form and left?" Displeased, I pointed at Little Quinn. That would explain why the Deathlark disappeared. But isn't a transformation supposed to require you to modify the transformation fruit? Little Quinn quickly explained, "It has nothing to do with me. I am devoted to you. How could I go to serve that ugly bird?" Devoted? I think you're devoted to seeing your host dead. I snorted coldly. Little Quinn quickly turned its head away, pretending not to hear. At this moment, Ancient Ape was full of question marks. Did Dragon Brother get hit in the head by Wolverine? Why is he talking to himself? Little Quinn continued, "Rather than the Deathlark transforming into human form, I'm more concerned about something else. Do you remember the ability it acquired from the man who transformed from the pterosaur? It took out a crystal nucleus from a naked man and swallowed it to heal its wound. The transformation fruit can compress a monster's life essence into a crystal nucleus. I suspect the Deathlark used a crystal nucleus for treatment, similar to how you devour the flesh and blood of monsters to heal. If the Deathlark can eat crystals nucleus to heal, can it also use them to level up?" I asked. Little Quinn replied, "That's still uncertain at the moment. You could find an opportunity to kill the Deathlark, and then through its analysis, maybe you could solve this puzzle." "You're joking. That Deathlark took 2 of my burst breaths and neither worked. Next time we meet it's not clear who would kill whom." Little Quinn explained, "Actually, you don't need to do much. Just scratch the surface, and I could study a sample to draw conclusions." I flatly refused. "If you want to go yourself. I don't have that kind of free time." I had already decided to return to my own territory and continue skulking to level up. "I will stay in my place until I reach the peak." So I called Ancient Ape to come back with me. Since the prey in her territory was almost gone, there wouldn't be food if she went back. Ancient Ape and I began heading towards my territory. I really wanted to see the faces of those monsters who had sent me off when they saw me return with a foodie. A week later, I was living a life where food came to me. Ancient Ape brought back food every early morning, and Little Tangerine's skill at stacking firewood had become expert. Even so, I was still picky. How many times have I told you, stop bringing back poisonous spiders? Although our constitution makes it okay to eat some poison spiders, they really don't taste good. Ancient Ape took careful notes of the precautions I mentioned in her little notebook. Ancient Ape seriously learned, and her barbecuing skills became more and more proficient. I didn't have to lift a finger to enjoy delicious food, so I started thinking, maybe I should teach the Ancient Ape how to make fire by friction. That way, all I had to do was open my mouth to devour and move my finger to sign in, lying down to become stronger, and life was simply blissful. System, I want to check in. Ding. Check in location, Abyssal Island. Check in reward, A-rank skill Dragon Roar. Your roar can energize your allies and instantly stun enemies, causing them to freeze in their actions. Hearing about this skill, I almost cried with excitement. I finally made it. After checking in for 20 days, I finally got another A-rank skill. At that moment, Little Quinn also sent congratulations. Congratulations to the host for completing a full month of consecutive check-ins in the Abyss Island, earning a new package reward. Hearing about the package reward, I was even more delighted. A package? What kind of package? Could it be even more powerful than the A-grade skill I just got? Little Quinn smiled mysteriously. The package is a carefully prepared present by me. It is not comparable to mere A-grade skills or items issued by the system. Given that the host has checked in continuously for a month, I am unlocking important features such as the system store and system map for the host, while also presenting 300,000 evolution points. Wow, not only system store, but also thousands of evolution points. I can now spoil myself by shopping. Little Quinn, open the store. Let me see what treasures you have there. My store turned out to be in Little Quinn's mouth. Let me see what good things are in there. Skill, Thunder Fruit, from the Pirate Emperor's world, has the ability to turn one's body into lightning. Not only can it release high-voltage electric currents, but it also allows the body to move at lightning speed, perfectly solving the problem of large monster bodies being slow. Tai Chi, from the Fire Shadow world, has the ability to see through everything and find an opponent's weakness weaknesses, almost like cheating. Titanium mecha. From the titanium hero world, mechas have a magic that men can't resist, and every man would love it. This is also what belongs to a man's romance. Just as I was about to buy all these skills, I saw the prices and counted the zeros. My jaw dropped. The Thunder Fruit is priced at 500 million, Tai Chi at 200 million, Titanium Mecha at 100 million. Holy crap, little Kun, this is practically robbery, all priced in millions. What's the use of the 300,000 evolution points I just got? Little Kun then said, this is a fair price. These goods all come from parallel universes. It cost me a great deal to get them here. If the host thinks it's expensive, you can swipe to see the more affordably priced local products. You can even swipe the screen. Pretty high-tech. Bone refining powder is priced at 50 million evolution points. Lightning whip is priced at 20 million evolution points, and mega cannon priced at 10 million evolution points. I swiped for a long while, and there wasn't a single item under 300,000. They are clearly mocking my poverty. What's the big deal? Sooner or later I'll gather enough evolution points. By then, I might already be a 10,000 meter level giant beast, free to choose. Just as I was about to exit the store, Little Kun said, you can also filter to directly find products under 300,000. So, I believed his nonsense again. A few minutes later, I finally found a product under 300,000 evolution points. Barbecue seasoning, priced at 1,000 evolution points. I shed tears of excitement. Seasoning it is. Better than nothing. Congratulations to the host for successfully purchasing the barbecue seasoning. With a simple touch, you can improve the taste of your food. I heard a thud, and the seasoning was actually pulled out of Little Kun's mouth, covered in slime. Gross. Can't you keep it clean? I couldn't help but complain. Little Kun explained, this is next generation 3D printing technology. Don't be misled by the visuals. Suppressing my disgust, I sprinkled the seasoning on the barbecue, and instantly the aroma spread. Wow, yes, that's the flavor. If only we had a few bottles of chilled soda, that would be the icing on the cake. Since I couldn't afford anything else in the store for now, I asked Little Kun to open the system map. Little Kun said, this is just a rough map of Abyss Island. Only places you've checked into will display the terrain in detail. The places you haven't visited are shrouded in fog, so I have to light up the map gradually. But Abyss Island is really big. I've been running around the island for a month and only lit up a small area. At that moment, I noticed several gray areas on the map. Little Kun explained, these areas have been contaminated by the dead rotten reptiles. You've seen it before. Everything in that place, including the sky, land, plants, and animals, is all rotten, and their territory is still expanding. These guys are really annoying. We must stop them quickly. Following the map's markings, let's pull out these dead rotten reptiles one by one. Young man, devour each dead rotten reptile with your mouth, and light up the entire map of Abyss Island with your footsteps. So I asked Little Kun, is there any reward for lighting up the map? Little Kun replied, by lighting up the map, you'll truly be the true master of Abyss Island. I'm not interested in that. I aspire to be the king of monsters. My goal is to defeat the king of the dead rotten reptiles, to avenge Ancient Ape parents, and to restore the former beauty and peace of Abyss Island. Looking at Ancient Ape, who was enjoying her food, I placed my hand on her forehead. As for the ruler of Abyss Island, let Ancient Ape do it, since becoming the king of monsters is my dream. At that moment, Ancient Ape looked puzzled. What does the ruler of Abyss Island and the king of monsters mean? Are they even better than barbecue? This simpleton don't really gets it. All these titles of kings and ruler are just human fabrications. Nothing beats a full stomach. So I handed her a few more skewers of grilled meat. Come on, let's continue eating big. Just then, a lump of green stuff fell into Ancient Ape's hand. She thought it might be a new seasoning I added, so she leaned in to smell it. The next second, Ancient Ape's face turned utterly disgusted. It stinks. This is poop. Several pterosaurs were circling in the air, and Ancient Ape looked up angrily. Those pterosaurs even kept asking her, how's the seasoning? Ancient Ape immediately threw away the skewer in her hand and angrily leaped at those teasing pterosaurs. The pterosaurs didn't expect the Ancient Ape to explode so quickly and frantically flew higher to evade. Ancient Ape ended up missing and fell downwards without catching even a feather. Seeing this, the pterosaurs cackled at Ancient Ape. With a boom, Ancient Ape landed safely, but how could she swallow her anger? She immediately ran towards a huge rock at the cave entrance. You simpleton, you're not really thinking of using that rock to smash them, are you? That's the rock I used to prop my feet. You're not going to destroy my cave, are you? I quickly stopped her. Forget it, I'll do it myself. It's a good opportunity to try out my newly acquired skill. So, I unleashed my new skill, Dragon Roar, at the pterosaurs in the air. They were instantly hit by the skill and fell into a state of dizziness. Right after, with a boom, I emitted a radioactive heat ray at them, easily knocking these little cacklers down. Ape sister, you'll be the future queen of Abyss Island. If you can't handle a few pterosaurs, how'll you manage? While I can get stronger by eating, I should prepare some special training lessons for her to boost Ancient Ape's abilities. So I decided to put Ancient Ape through special training starting tomorrow. Ape sister, from tomorrow, I'll arrange special training lessons for you to make you stronger. Hearing about special training, Ancient Ape drooled. What is special training? Are they even tastier than roasted meat? To help the Ancient Ape become the queen of Abyss Island, I referenced physical training from my past life. life and devised a series of special training plans. Strength training, 1,000 pull-ups. Endurance training, 100,000-meter run. The final item, sparring training with me. Ape Sister, this week I will start a project to help you practice 3 of your abilities. I will help you improve your strength until you become the Queen of Abyss Island. Ancient Ape looked confused. What is boosting strength? Is it tastier than skewers? Boosting your strength means being able to defeat all the other monsters. Ancient Ape while munching on her grilled meat. I have no interest in that. They haven't stolen food from me. Why should I beat them up? I already knew she would react this way. Conventional methods just don't work with simpletons. Fortunately, I used to be an excellent dog trainer. Ape Sister, if you do as I say, I'll give you with a skewer of delicious roasted meat with seasoning as a reward. The moment I mentioned food, Ancient Ape's eyes lit up instantly, and she danced around happily, drooling. I can do it. I like special training. Special training is the best. The contrast in her behavior before and after is just too big. The world of a foodie is indeed simple. First item of special training, strength training, 1,000 pull-ups. Just jump up, grab the horizontal wood, and lift your body up. Let me demonstrate first. I bent my legs slightly and aimed my palms at the bar. But damn it, I forgot the most crucial thing. My arms are too short, but that's no problem for me. I gave it my all and jumped up, biting the wood firmly with my mouth. This ridiculous scene looked just like a chicken hung by its neck. Ancient Ape looked at me, puzzled. When I looked at her, I found she was no longer on the ground. The next second, she stretched out her hand from the tree. Isn't it just climbing a tree? What's so hard about that? Come on, I'll help you. I was instantly embarrassed. Alright, I was wrong. Ancient Ape, you are the true master of the bars. But even if you're exceptionally strong, it's not something to show off. Endurance is still key in real combat. Let's move on to the next item, endurance training. A rumbling sound came from the forest, and a just awakened crocodile was directly stomped on by Ancient Ape and died on the spot. Its companions watched Ancient Ape leave, shivering in fear. Before it could recover, another rumbling sound came. I was breathing heavily, charging and causing some animals to flee in terror. I flipped over the crocodile, panting heavily. I couldn't help but complain, damn, I've turned into a monster, and I still can't outrun a girl. At that moment, all Ancient Ape could think about were the seasonings and skewers, showing a charming smile, and even flashing me a peace gesture. The small animals we accidentally hurt in the background looked aggrieved, holding up signs protesting, no reckless running, don't hit passerby, limited speed, no monster crash. After a while, the entrance to my cave was a mess. Occasionally sounds of fighting emerged. Ancient Ape's strength and endurance are just the basics. The real keys to victory are skills and experience. At that moment, I and the Ancient Ape were engaged in sparring training. I launched a dragon tail whip at the Ancient Ape, and with a boom, she was hit directly, smashing 2 large trees and falling to the ground. Seeing Ancient Ape lying motionless, I immediately ran over. I might have gone a bit too hard. Did I knock you out? Just then, Ancient Ape suddenly threw a punch at me, turning my vision a shade of purple red, playing dead for a sneak attack. Haven't you heard that is not polite to hit others in the face? I immediately gathered energy and unleashed my strongest verbal cannon at the Ancient Ape. She dodged sideways, avoiding my attack. The energy wave raced off into the distance, and with a boom, it hit a small caracal that had been displeased with us. Looking at the forest we had turned into a mess, Little Quinn helplessly said, this place was fine before, but now you've turned it almost into the dead ash land of the dead rotten reptiles. With all this chaos, we don't even need the dead rotting reptiles. Just the 2 of you could sink the island before they do. At this moment, I also felt that things had gone a bit too far. If we had scared all the prey away, there would be nothing left for me to devour. However, to fight against the king of the dead rotten reptiles, special training to enhance our strength was necessary. What's a good way to do it? Little Quinn said. Enhancing strength isn't impossible, but have you seen your own size? The ground shakes with every step you take, and you still want to engage in such intense activity? Right, if we weren't so big, wouldn't that solve the problem? So I asked Little Quinn, if we transform into human form for the training, can we also enhance the strength of our monster form? Little Quinn explained, in principle, it's possible. Training in human form can enhance the body's capacity to bear the energy of the crystal nucleus. As the capacity of the container increases, the energy of the crystal nucleus also increases. When you transform into a monster, the life essence released by breaking the crystal nucleus will also be greater. So, I decided to transform into human form to continue training. Little Quinn, how can we transform into human form? Little Quinn explained, to transform from human to monster, you shatter the crystal nucleus by will, channeling the crystal's energy into every limb, breaking the nucleus to form the infant and cultivation novels. To transform from monster to human, you need to reconverge your whole energy around your pubic region and form a nucleus there. First breaking the crystal nucleus to become a monster, now forming the crystal nucleus to become human. Are you sure you're not reading from a cultivation script? To avoid further housebreaking, I called Ancient Ape to prepare for nucleus formation. Ape Sister, follow my lead. Let's sit down first and then start meditating. Think about pooling all your energy around the pubic region. After a while, I suddenly opened my eyes. A sudden urge to pee overwhelming me. Damn it. Focusing energy to the pubic region actually made me need to pee. I quickly went to relieve myself. After peeing, I felt much lighter. When I looked for Ancient Ape, I found she had disappeared from her spot. Ape sister, where did you go? Did this simpleton also need to pee? Just then, I heard a faint call from below. Ancient Ape had already transformed into human form, happily jumping around. I'm here. I was shocked. Damn, how did you transform into human form so quickly? At that moment, I felt somewhat disgruntled. In my previous life, I was surpassed by a girl, and in this life, was I going to be left behind again? As Godzilla, instead of leveling up by fighting monsters, I was sitting cross-legged, trying my hand at cultivation. The root cause of all this was Ancient Ape. Strength, endurance, and sparring. I was completely outmatched by Ancient Ape in all three. As someone who had never won in sports against girls, I could accept losing these, but to also be outpaced in theoretical knowledge about monster transformation by Ancient Ape, as a man, I must regain my dignity and not let myself be looked down upon. Thus, I started contemplating nucleus formation early in the morning, even though Ancient Ape's stomach was growling with hunger. I paid it no mind, continuing my contemplation into the evening, until nightfall, when Ancient Ape brought back groceries and urged me to start the fire for dinner. Disturbed by Ancient Ape, already on the brink, completely lost it. Can you not pace around in front of me? Don't disturb my meditation. Is transforming so great? Unintentionally, I condensed a burst breath. Dragon brother, stop talking. Why are you about to fire again? I was suddenly speechless. I didn't plan to fire. Who knows what this is? Suddenly, I realized that both burst breath and transforming require concentrating attention and gathering the body's power at one point. Could it be because of this? To save my own den, I forcefully swallowed back the burst breath. Unexpectedly, this inadvertent action actually worked perfectly. I saw my body surrounded by a yellow light. In the next second, I successfully formed the core and transformed back into human form. It seems this burst breath might actually be a shortcut to circulating power within the body. Last time I was too busy fleeing to properly experience this body. So, I ran around Ancient Ape to test endurance, and then hung from a bar to test the strength of this body. This time, I want to redefine the 8-second man. Being an 8-second man means one can do 10 pull-ups in 8 seconds. Due to excessive excitement, I continued exercising until the next morning. At this time, I was exceptionally thrilled. Training in human form is more comfortable. It protects the environment and saves costs. Looking at Ancient Ape and the little tangerine sleeping soundly, I felt a sense of satisfaction. I went up and performed a series of inhuman maneuvers on them. After Ancient Ape transformed into human form, she continued training with me. In human form, I could finally spar without any reservations. I also said, if Ape's sister can defeat me, I'll reward you with 10 skewers seasoned with spices. Hearing about the reward, Ape Girl, who had just been woken up, instantly perked up. I saw her eyes sparkle with stars as she raised her arm and smashed it down on me, unguarded. With a boom, I was directly hit by Ape Girl, landing face first. Ape Girl joyfully shouted, 10 skewers in the bag. I was speechless. I haven't even said start yet. However, what greeted me was an even more fierce attack from Ape Girl. It seems that for foodies, nothing stimulates their interest more than food. After a week of special training, Ancient Ape's strength had greatly improved, while I had been miserably outclassed by her. Fortunately, by eating every day, I also gained over 600,000 evolution points. I decided to keep 100,000 evolution points in reserve and use the rest for evolution. So, I summoned Little Kuin, and after some thought, decided to put all 500,000 evolution points into my size. My body was enveloped in white light, and under Ancient Ape's astonished gaze, I grew taller bit by bit. At that moment, the system prompted, you have the bloodline of the ancient mythic titan beast Kuei recorded in the classic of mountains and seas. Now you've entered puberty. At this moment, I was noticeably taller than before, and Ancient Ape pointed at me, exclaiming, Dragon brother, how did you suddenly get taller? I said with a proud face, because I'm still growing. Following a healthy diet and a live schedule, of course, I can grow taller, and don't forget I often exercise. While the Ancient Ape, the simpleton, was still puzzled by my growth, I opened the map of Abyss Island. Today I'll take you to test the results of this week's training. I've discovered a large number of dead rotten reptiles in the southern part of the misty forest. Let's burn it down and kill all the dead rotten reptiles for roasting. Hearing there were skewers to eat, Ancient Ape got extremely excited. Let's eradicate all the dead rotten reptiles. I was immediately facepalmed. It seems I have mastered the art of conversing with a foodie. In a cave in the southern dense forest, 3 dead rotten reptiles were patrolling, with countless bones piled up beneath their feet. At this moment, Ancient Ape and I were hiding behind a large rock, secretly observing them. There are just a few at the entrance. Let's sneak over quietly in a moment. When I turned my head to look at Ancient Ape, I found she had disappeared. At that moment, she was already charging towards the cave, shouting, what a silly girl. Doesn't she know the benefits of sneaking in? The dead rotten reptiles saw Ancient Ape coming and roared. One lunged at her. With a bang, Ancient Ape landed an elbow strike, easily taking down one. She reached out with her large hand, grabbed the remaining 2, and forcibly fused them together. Just after dealing with these 3 patrol sentinels, countless dead rotten reptiles surged out of the cave. At this time, I walked up behind Ancient Ape and said, how about that, Ape sister? Was it easy to deal with them? This is because, after the special training, your strength, speed, and reactions have all greatly improved. Then I looked at the approaching horde of dead rotten reptiles reptiles. Ever since encountering the Deathlark and the Wolverine, things haven't gone smoothly for me. Let me properly vent today. Ancient Ape and I began a furious slaughter of these minions. Soon, a large number of dead rotten reptiles' corpses piled up under our feet. Although these crawlers were numerous, their waves of attacks were like delivering themselves to us. The feeling of one-sided crushing improved my mood. No matter how many dead rotten reptiles we kill, I'll sprinkle them with seasoning and turn them into skewers for you. Hearing about skewers, Ancient Ape immediately drooled, her eyes filled with little stars. I want to eat 500 skewers. Watching wave after wave of dead rotten reptiles come at us, I couldn't help but remark, little guys, though you look unique, this fearless spirit of yours is commendable. Among my enemies, I respect you as the bravest. Just then, a roar came from inside the cave, and the dead rotten reptiles stopped in their tracks. Under our expectant gazes, they turned and ran back into the cave. Ancient Ape and I looked at each other, bewildered. Why are they turning back? I was just praising your courage, and now you chose to flinch? At that moment, Ancient Ape was so angry her veins bulged, imagining the cooked skewers flying away. These creatures were retreating mid-battle. There had to be a trick. Plus, we knew nothing about what was inside the cave, so I decided to observe a bit before acting. However, Ancient Ape, the foodie, suddenly roared and charged toward the cave. My skewers, come back. I was speechless. Foodies will be foodies, never thinking before acting. Fearing Ancient Ape might be in danger, I quickly followed her. Upon entering the cave, it was full of the stench of decay, and not even a shadow of a dead rotten reptile was visible, nor did the monster compass show any readings. Definitely a trap. Ape sister, I suggest we retreat for now and plan carefully. Just then, countless green eyes suddenly opened above us. The next second, a swarm of dead rotten reptiles descended from above, and at the same time, a large number surged out from within the cave, surrounding us. They sprayed us with corrosive venom. Although the venom of these crawlers was limited in damage, their sheer number made it troublesome, like being bitten by mosquitoes. It wasn't very harmful, but it was annoying to be bitten. I prepared to unleash an area attack to roast these creatures on the spot. Just at that moment, the cave violently shook, and a huge shadow charged towards us. I quickly pushed Ancient Ape to one side, but I was hit squarely by the huge creature. Boom! My massive body was actually knocked flying, hitting the cave wall hard. Unexpectedly, there was such a formidable creature in this cave. I had just gotten up from the ground when I saw a large mouth covered in venom coming at me. I supported its jaw with my not-so-long arms. In the next second, I saw a green energy ball forming inside its mouth. I didn't expect you could spit too. In a rush, I pushed away its jaw, barely dodging its attack. I looked at the place where the venom had hit and was shocked. The spot it touched was hissing. I didn't expect this creature's saliva to be so corrosive. At that moment, the system alerted. This monster is King's Hand, Venom, a direct descendant of the king of the dead rotten reptiles, 60 meters long and weighing 480 tons. As the king's first hand, it commands a legion of dead rotten reptiles to expand their turf on Abyss Island. Unexpectedly, attacking a mere stronghold, we stumbled upon a significant character, even the son of the king of the dead rotten reptiles. I wonder if kidnapping this guy could force his dad to leave Abyss Island. While I was pondering, the giant launched another venom bomb at me. I dodged to the side and noticed that not only was the venom potent, but its attack power was strong enough to easily penetrate the cave walls. Thankfully, its attack speed was slow. As long as I focused, I could completely avoid it. Just then, the creature made a hissing sound. Its head bulged on both sides, beginning to emit a green light. I immediately recognized that this guy was charging up for a big move. The next second, countless venom bombs shot out from its mouth and the swollen areas, heading straight for me. My mouth dropped open, my jaw almost hitting the floor. He could release that bomb in quick succession. Faced with a barrage of venom bombs, I had no way to dodge and was hit directly, crashing to the ground with a loud bang. Emitting so many venom bombs at once, the big guy was visibly exhausted, drooling, and seemingly without any immediate plans to continue attacking. At that moment, Ancient Ape was surrounded by a large number of dead rotten reptiles. Seeing me knocked down, she became furiously angry. She looked up at the stalactites on the cave ceiling, then leaped up, shaking off the crawlers behind her and using the stalactites to move towards me while smashing them down onto the dead rotten reptiles below. Instantly, the dead rotten reptiles were smashed into disarray. Quickly, Ancient Ape reached above the big creature, landing directly in front of it, and then raised her massive fist, striking the big creature's face. Surprisingly, she managed to flip the creature's enormous body. Just when I thought this guy was going to be finished off, it was not only unharmed, but also launched a counterattack. It embedded its legs into the cave walls and started charging up again. Seeing this, I loudly warned Ancient Ape to be careful. Ancient Ape easily dodging its attack and taunted, "Your skills are no match for my dragon brother's burst breath." It seems dodging verbal shots had become a reflex for Ancient Ape. Ancient Ape took the opportunity just after the big guy had fired, quickly going after it, ready to give it a proper lesson. But the next second, the previously shot venom bombs bizarrely curved back around, targeting Ancient Ape, who was confronting the big creature. I shouted, "Ape sister, watch your back," but it was a step too late. Ancient Ape was hit in the back by a venom bomb, stumbled, and fell to her knees, the venom taking the opportunity to slam spraying her head, knocking her tens of meters away, then pouncing on her. How can those venom bombs fly back? I shouted, about to rush to help, but was blocked by a group of dead rotten reptiles. These little critters attacked me, climbing onto my back and gnawing away. You ungrateful jerks, get off me. I activated my thorn armor, instantly dealing with a crowd of small dead rotten reptiles. At that moment, Ancient Ape was pinned to the ground by the venom creature. Just as it was condensing another venom bomb to spray at Ancient Ape, I arrived in time, hitting it with a dragon tail whip across its face, sending the venom creature flying tens of meters. However, this guy shot several more venom bombs toward the cave ceiling. There were a few dead rotten reptiles right above us. I thought it was going to betray its teammates, but when the venom bombs hit the dead rotten reptiles, they not only did no damage, but instantly changed direction and shot toward me and Ancient Ape. This scene completely overturned our understanding. Holy crap, what kind of skill is this? I stepped in front of Ancient Ape, and all three venom bombs hit me. I was reckless. I thought the dead rotten reptiles were just dumb creatures, but it turns out they can shoot venom bomb via teamwork. Just then, the venom creature spat out a few more globs of phlegm. I pushed Ancient Ape aside. You got addicted to it. Watching the venom creature's catcher getting ready, I slapped it away with a dragon tail whip. The catcher was instantly out of the game. Think you can play marbles with me? Try again. I can kill your catchers directly. At that moment, the venom creature roared loudly, and numerous dead rotten reptiles began to scatter in every direction, encircling Ancient Ape and me. Damn, how did so many catchers suddenly appear? Even the cave ceiling is crawling with them. Looks like this guy is gearing up for another big move. The venom creature took a deep breath and readied itself to spray venom bombs. Don't think I'll let you fire off easily. I launched my new skill, Dragon Roar, at the venom. The venom was immediately disrupted by my attack, retreating backward, and then it slipped, spraying the gathered venom bombs haphazardly in all directions. Damn, that backfired. My roar turned it into a spray mess. Now it's even harder to dodge. The venom bombs shot toward me and Ancient Ape without direction. We had just dodged the first wave of attacks when, after bouncing off the dead rotten reptiles, the venom bombs came at us again. Ancient Ape and I kept dodging attacks from all directions. Damn, nearly got castrated. We must find a way to knock them all down. At that time, the venom was on the outskirts, still spraying wildly, adding more to the mix. If we didn't resolve this quickly, Ancient Ape and I would be exhausted to death. I looked at the group of dead rotten reptiles preparing to catch the venom bombs and sprayed them with a blast of radioactive heat rays, achieving a mini extinction event. This unexpectedly revealed that burnt dead rotten reptiles cannot bounce back the venom bombs. So, I gathered another blast of radioactive heat rays, not bothering about the venom bombs for now, and first scorched those damn crawlers. Let's see you bounce them now. The venom creature noticed something was off and suddenly appeared behind me, swinging its scythe-like huge legs at me. I couldn't dodge in time and was slashed on the thigh, falling to the ground with a thud. At that moment, a venom bomb bounced back towards my head. Ancient Ape shouted, "Be careful," and then casually grabbed a dead rotten reptile, throwing it at the venom bomb aimed at me. Look out! The venom bomb hit the back of the dead rotten reptile and was deflected to the side. Seeing this, I was relieved. It turns out the dead rotten reptile's ability to bounce back venom bombs is a passive skill. I also casually grabbed a dead rotten reptile, suddenly entering ping pong mode. Table tennis player Len Shan online. I could use the dead rotten reptile as a racket to hit back the venom bombs. The venom creature, seeing my posture, was also confused and spat out a few more globs of phlegm at me. Watching the balls coming from the venom, I confidently went to meet them. Watch my spike. But damn, the next second was tragic. I didn't catch a single ball and took all the attacks with my body. The failed attempt to show off left me waving the racket frantically. I can't believe my aim is this bad. Isn't this how they swing it in the videos? While I was wildly flailing, a venom bomb fell towards the top of my head. Ouch, my head. This sudden pain made me throw away the racket and completely forget about the venom bombs shooting rapidly from the side. With just thud, Ancient Ape promptly arrived and deflected all the venom bombs. Dragon brother, are you okay? Ancient Ape asked with concern. I looked at Ancient Ape in surprise. She gave me a thumbs up and laughed. This time it's my turn to protect you. Warrior Ancient Ape has logged on. The venom creature starts to go mad, spewing even more of its phlegm at us. Ancient Ape used her Gorilla Fists, updated version, Gorilla Dual Wield to send all the venom attacks back. I was instantly starry-eyed, turning into a little fanboy. The venom creature couldn't help but mock me when it saw my state. Seeing its smug expression, Ancient Ape became even angrier. At that moment, the venom creature let out a roar, and suddenly, the dead rotten reptiles in the cave began to mobilize, constantly changing their positions. I quickly warned Ancient Ape, be careful, this bunch is changing formation. The venom creature then sprayed several venom bombs towards the cave ceiling. After being bounced by the dead rotten reptiles, shot towards Ancient Ape from all directions. Ancient Ape had just knocked away a venom bomb close to her when it was bounced back by the dead rotten reptiles. Watching the endless barrage of venom bombs, the already irritable Ancient Ape completely lost her temper. She let out a loud shout. Her body turned into several afterimages, and she began to furiously slap the venom bombs, moving so fast that in the end, all that could be seen were venom bombs being knocked away. At that moment, I, too, was shocked by Ancient Ape's skills, but I discovered another problem. Due to Ancient Ape relentless hitting, the venom bombs were getting faster, and not falling to the ground was not a solution. Seeing the venom still adding ingredients, I quickly instructed Ancient Ape to direct all attacks towards the venom. Even if it doesn't cause damage, it could at least prevent it from adding more ingredients. But at that moment, the venom creature smirked. The next second, it used its tail to slap the venom bombs back. Ancient Ape and I were immediately shocked. Didn't expect this big guy to have that trick up its sleeve. I angrily instructed Ancient Ape to continue directing all remaining attacks towards the venom. The venom creature, not to be outdone, wildly swung its tails, bouncing all the venom bombs back. At this point, both were fully exerted. Just as the venom creature bounced the attacks back, I had already prepared my big move. The burst breath was instantly activated, knocking down all the venom bombs and shooting them towards the venom. Although the venom creature jumped to dodge the attack, it was still grazed by it, and with a loud crash, it fell heavily to the ground. As the dust settled, the venom creature looked disheveled. It was missing 2 legs, and 2 of its tails were blasted off. Ancient Ape made a peace gesture. Dragon brother is mighty. I was a whole lot leaner, sweating profusely, and couldn't help but tremble. Seeing the venom creature about to spit again, I grabbed Ancient Ape and ran towards the cave entrance. What are you waiting for? Run! I can only use my burst breath twice a day, and I'm out of options now. At that moment, the venom creature, seeing us running away, became extremely furious and opened its mouth to chase after us. Ancient Ape and I then pushed hard to sprint out. Soon, we ran out of the cave, disappearing from the venom creature's sight. Just as it burst out of the cave, Ancient Ape suddenly tripped it, sending it flying out for a close encounter with the ground. I always relied on dirty tricks, truly unbeatable. Did you think we were really planning to run away? Actually, we were provoking you to draw you out of the cave. You have a huge advantage in there. This time I'd like to see you bounce, I said proudly. Seeing my smug expression, the venom creature roared to the sky and began to shake off its followers. Suddenly, countless dead rotten reptiles appeared behind me and Ancient Ape, quickly passing by us without attacking, all crawling to the venom creature's side, prostrating at its feet. They started climbing onto the venom's severed limbs, and as the limbs oozed green fluid, in the next moment, the limbs I had blasted off miraculously regenerated. This scene literally dazzled my eyes. Could the dead rotten reptiles' bodily fluids be some kind of miracle medicine that revives the dead and knits bones? I quickly tested it on myself, but it had no effect on me at all. While I was distracted, the venom had fully healed its recent wounds and roared at me, as if mocking my ignorance. Ancient Ape and I immediately became alert. The venom sprayed venom bombs at us again, but I was unfazed and told Ancient Ape, knock all the venom bombs into the air. Ancient Ape stepped forward and swung her double axes, knocking all the venom bombs away in a few strokes. Big guy, I told you, inside the cave you had an advantage, but now we're outside, and your ping pong game is useless. Seeing its tactics foiled, the venom roared to the sky, and the next second, it turned towards its minions and began eating its kind. What's going on here? Has it gotten so angry it can't tell friend from foe? However, the dead rotten reptiles didn't run away. Instead, they rushed to be eaten as if it was their mission. This big guy is up to no good, definitely plotting something. I called out to Ancient Ape, stop it from feeding any further. Ape sister, you jump high. I'll hold off the little ones, and you go attack the big one. Ancient Ape leaped high and plunged toward the venom. Seeing Ancient Ape charging directly at it, the venom sidestepped her attack. After landing, it sucked in a deep breath and sprayed venom bombs at Ancient Ape again. Ancient Ape roared at the incoming venom bombs and rushed to meet them, furiously slapping them away. The next second, the insect racket in her hand broke, and Ancient Ape was struck by the venom bombs, sending her flying backward. I immediately became anxious and ran towards Ancient Ape. At that moment, the venom sprayed venom bombs at me again. I hit the ground and started rolling, constantly changing directions, quickly getting some dead rotten reptiles stuck on my back. The venom didn't stop its attack on me, but its venom bombs that hit me were bounced off by the dead rotten reptiles on my back. The venom sensed something was wrong and stopped its attack. You know why I've been rolling around? Just to put on this suit of dead rotten reptiles armor. But maintaining the thorn armor was too draining for me. To end the battle quickly, I charged at the venom. The venom creature broke into a cold sweat and started firing venom bombs like a Gatling gun. However, these attacks were all bounced off by the dead rotten reptiles on my back. As its attack rate and force increased, I charged forward, shouting, "Go to hell, bastard," and rammed into the venom with the spikes on my back. It was knocked back, and its body was riddled with holes. With a loud crash, the venom fell heavily to the ground. Such a perfect opportunity. I wouldn't let it go. I rushed forward, bit into the venom's forelimb, and with a powerful tug, tore it off. At the same time, arcs of electricity flickered on my body, quickly gathering into a radioactive heat ray. Boom! The ray blasted directly into the venom. At that moment, all its limbs were severed, and green fluid sprayed wildly. The venom roared to the sky once more, and numerous dead rotten reptiles quickly gathered around it, letting it devour them frenziedly. This guy didn't regenerate his forelimbs first, but continued to devour frenziedly. He must be charging up for a big move. At this moment, I was nearly at my limit, and I could barely maintain the thorn armor state any longer. I had to finish it off quickly, so I charged at the venom again. again. The venom saw me coming and took a deep breath. I snorted coldly. You think you can still use the same tactic against me? Do you think it will still work? Now that you don't have limbs to support yourself, I'd like to see how you manage to shoot. As a strong light flashed from the venom's mouth, a massive venom bomb slowly formed. In the next second, it was spat out. Accompanied by a loud roar, the venom bomb rapidly approached me. Seeing this venom bomb, I went berserk. Holy shit, how can you spit out such a huge thing? I quickly turned around, using the dead rotten reptiles on my back to touch the venom bomb, planning to bounce it back. The force of the giant venom bomb was too strong, dragging me backwards. I hurriedly called out to Ancient Ape, "Come help, I can't push this big guy by myself." Ancient Ape, while shouting for me to hold on, quickly ran towards me. Who knew this klutz would directly slam into my stomach? "Ape's sister, are you trying to kill me?" However, thankfully, the two of us bounced back the venom bomb. It's finally pushed back. What goes around, comes around, sending it back to you. Old bro, here's one back at you. I released my most powerful skill, burst breath, towards the venom. At this moment, the venom was completely dumbfounded. As the burst breath shattered the giant venom bomb and pierced through the venom's head with a loud bang, the venom's body fell to the ground. As the dust settled, the defeated venom lay in disarray, body riddled with holes. At that time, I was completely drained. Who would have thought a random raid would have such a strong boss? My luck is truly unparalleled, as if blessed by a king. Ancient Ape and I laughed happily, with her continuously praising, "Dragon Brother is mighty." Just then, I noticed at my feet, the previously barren dead ashland miraculously sprouted green grass and butterflies flitted about. Ancient Ape and I, baffled, watched the transformation under our feet. Little Kun explained the reason. The dead rotten reptiles contain 6 types of corruption powers not of this world, which suppress the life around them, causing the formation of the dead ashland. The energy in the venom is pure, so I suspect this energy uses the Xianglu bloodline as its carrier. The stronger the bloodline, the stronger the corruption. I asked Little Kun, based on what you're saying, do we not need to clear all the dead rotten reptiles? Just kill the dead rotten reptiles king and the 6 giants to save the Abyss Island? Little Kun confirmed, exactly. Thus, I plan to target several of the biggest dead rotten reptiles strongholds on the map, taking them out one by one, not only to enhance my combat skills, but also to improve the environment. 2 birds with 1 stone. But first, I need to fill my rumbling stomach and replenish my energy. Meanwhile, Ancient Ape had already strung up the skewers. Ape's sister is really diligent. She's already strung them all up. Ancient Ape picked up the strung skewers, asking me to start a fire, but I sighed. I'm nearly drained now. How am I supposed to produce fire? How about this, Ape's sister? I'll teach you how to start a fire with wood instead. Ancient Ape looked puzzled, but under my guidance, she fetched the tools for fire, starting by wood friction. I instructed, Ape's sister, just rub this wooden plank back and forth like this. Watching Ancient Ape grow increasingly impatient, I kept cheering her on. Yes, just like that. Put some more effort into it. With our joint efforts, we finally saw a small flame. Ancient Ape carefully placed the ember under the stacked firewood, gave me a peace gesture, then happily began to grill the skewers, while I leaned back, waiting to enjoy the food. An hour later, with my stomach growling, I asked Ancient Ape, is the food ready yet? I'm starving. Ancient Ape, sweating profusely, said it wasn't ready yet. Another hour passed, and the skewers still weren't cooked. I kept urging, Ape's sister, are the skewers ready yet? I'm so hungry I could die. At that moment, Ancient Ape, with veins popping and a face as dark as iron, suddenly flipped the grill over, roaring, why won't it cook? What the heck is happening? I picked up a skewer to inspect it and found that despite such a long time grilling, the skewers hadn't changed at all. At this point, Little Kun said, it's uncooked because their energy doesn't belong to this world. The flames of this world can't ignite them. Your burst breath and radioactive heat ray are also alien powers. That's why you can scorch them. So that's it. I finally understood. No matter how powerful, the monsters on this island can't truly kill the dead rotten reptiles. Only I am an exception. At that moment, I also realized why Ancient Ape's parents, despite banding together with many powerful beings to fight the dead rotten reptiles, never returned without any news. They all died in vain. I wonder what Ancient Ape would think if she knew this. Forget it. I'm not going to think about it any longer. I'll starve if I don't eat soon. So, I took a bite of the skewer. If it can't be cooked, then raw it is. It's not like I haven't eaten raw before. Upon swallowing, I immediately began to question my life choices and spat it out in a hurry. This is just too disgusting. My mouth and stomach burned. This stuff is toxic when eaten raw. Looking disdainfully at the skewer, but without any other option, for the sake of evolution points, for energy, I decided to go for it. Ancient Ape covered her mouth in disgust. In my mind, I reconciled. Just pretend it's a super spicy hot pot. As I swallowed, my evolution points started to rise rapidly. Alright, I've eaten enough by now. I let out a burst breath and lit the fire pit. Ancient Ape watched as the dead crawlers finally started to cook, thinking, only Dragon Brother's flames can cook these crawlers, meaning only Dragon Brother can truly kill these dead rotten reptiles. In previous battles, it was always Dragon Brother's burst breath that secured victory. It seems I haven't been much help. Looking at Ancient Ape, who seemed lost in thought beside her beloved skewers, I couldn't help but wonder, what's got into this girl? She looks so down even in front of her favorite food. Could it be because of PMS? Just then, a dark shadow flew towards us from the sky, landing on a nearby mountaintop. It was the Deathlark and its winged minions. The Deathlark looked down at us, then suddenly exclaimed in surprise, "It's those two, wait, the corpses up front are." When it saw clearly, its face was full of surprise. It hadn't expected them to have actually killed Venom. Originally, the Deathlark had come for revenge. Before, it had a full head of black hair and had almost killed Venom. Unexpectedly, Venom suddenly unleashed a barrage of attacks, catching the Deathlark off guard, not only leaving it bald, but also surrounded by dead rotten reptiles. Venom's strength was something it knew all too well. It was unbelievable that Venom had been killed by them. At that moment, its winged dragon underling said, "Boss, while they're weak, should we finish them off?" But the Deathlark turned back and flew away, saying, "Let them go for now. The priority is to catch that Blade Wolf. Who knows where it has escaped to?" At this time, I was completely oblivious to the recent danger, still enjoying the feast. Congratulations on your first devouring of one of the hands of dead rotten reptiles king, Venom. Skill reward, Explosive Bomb, a weakened version of Burst Breath. Explosive Bomb, short charge time, can bounce twice off surfaces. Both hitting and explosive effects can be used continuously, with the third explosion being more powerful. Just as I was thanking the sixth prince for giving me a skill even after his death, the system notification sounded again. Congratulations on your 10,000th devouring of a mysterious realm creature. Reward 2 million evolution points. Little Cohen finally made a bold move, but I couldn't help wondering, what the hell is a mysterious realm creature? There was no such notification when devouring dead rotten reptiles before. Little Cohen explained, the corrupting force of the previous dead rotten reptiles was too weak to be analyzed. This time, by analyzing a sample of Venom, we discovered that this energy actually comes from a mysterious realm. No wonder Venom and the others had strange abilities that even the monster compass couldn't detect. It is said that a major disaster occurred in this world in ancient times, causing parts of space to be separated and forming a hidden space called the mysterious realm. The powerful creatures and energies of the ancient era were preserved in the mysterious realm, forming diverse ecological chains. Venom and the others came from beneath Abyss Island, so it's very likely that there's an entrance to the mysterious realm underground. Hearing Little Kun's explanation, I was full of anticipation. If I could enter the mysterious realm and binge eat, I could definitely burst out more orange gear and evolution points. Little Kun then opened the system market.